Greetings, everyone. Hope all of you are having an absolutely fantastic day. We are back again with Solasta Inner Strength. The new DLC launches today, which means I can finally talk about it. As always, there are chapters down below, so you can skip around to the sections you care about most. Let's kick this off with the part of Inner Strength I am most excited about, the new Dragonborn ancestry. Dragonborns get an automatic bonus of +2 to strength and +1 to charisma. This makes them perfect for martial classes, especially paladins. You also get to choose your draconic ancestry, which gives you a list of 5 different elements that you will gain resistance to and also use to deal damage in the form of a breath attack. The different ancestries change the color of your skin, but this is not relevant since you can switch your skin color to whatever you want in character creation. Along with skin color and different face palettes, you can also change the horns and tail of your Dragonborn. Really cool stuff, and I am very happy with this addition. 3 new backgrounds have been added to the game as well. Please note that none of them have quests in Crown of the Magister like the original backgrounds did. Ascetic gives you 1 language, proficiency in survival and insight, and it starts you out with a herbalism kit, which will allow you to create potions and poisons. Artist gives you 1 language and proficiency in persuasion, deception, and performance. Finally, Occultist gives you 1 language, proficiency in arcana and deception, and you'll start with a scroll kit, which lets you craft spell scrolls. Inner Strength also added a staggering 17 new feats into the game. Most of them revolve around martial characters, which addresses an issue in the game that only a couple of feats were really useful for them, so most of your level ups were spent either taking the ability score bonuses instead or adding filler feats. That definitely won't be a problem now. Since none of the new feats are marked as new, let's walk through the list so you know what has been added. Arcane Appraiser automatically identifies items that are placed in your inventory. Definitely a nice quality of life change that I would have appreciated in past playthroughs. Badlands Marauder gives you poison resistance and advantage on rolls against being poisoned. Blessing of the Elements gives you a reaction that triggers anytime you take fire, cold, or lightning damage. This reaction will make you resistant to that damage type until the start of your next turn. Very useful since many groups of enemies all use the same element type. Burning Touch is the first of 5 mutually exclusive feats that add elemental damage to your unarmed or weapon attacks. Burning Touch is for fire, Electrifying Touch is for electricity, Icy Touch is for cold, Melting Touch is for acid, and Toxic Touch is for poison. Cloak and Dagger adds a non-stacking +2 bonus to your AC when you hit an enemy with a light weapon. Oftentimes in my playthrough, 1 or 2 AC was the difference in getting hit, so this is actually a big deal. Daunting Push makes an enemy lose half their movement speed when you successfully shove them. Distracting Gambit places a -1 penalty to AC on enemies that you hit with a one-handed weapon. Forest Runner gives you +2 cells of movement. Forestalling Strength gives you +1 AC when wielding a two-handed weapon. Mender lets an ally regain 1 HP after you have stabilized them. Mighty Blow adds half your strength modifier on damage rolls for two-handed melee weapon attacks. Ready or Not gives you advantage on attack rolls when using your ready action. This is fantastic, especially for ranged characters who can cover a wide area with their ready attacks. Finally, Trip Attack lets you knock an enemy prone when you successfully land a melee ready attack if the enemy fails a contested roll. That completes the list, and as you can see, there are a lot more feat options, especially for martial characters to take advantage of. Finally, this DLC adds 3 new classes to the game. Bards can cast spells and they get Bardic Inspiration, which allows them as a bonus action to grant dice which can be used to charge an attack, saving throw, or ability check. As they level up, the dice value will increase. Their ability to pass skill checks will grow, and at level 10, they can choose 2 spells from any class and add them into their spell list. At level 3, you can choose a Bard College subclass. 3 of these are available with your purchase of Inner Strength, and 1 of them requires you to have purchased the Lost Valley. This is true of all 3 new classes. College of Lore gives you more skill proficiencies, lets you use Bardic Inspiration against enemies to penalize their rolls, and gives you an additional 2 spells from any class. College of Hope gives you additional healing spells, makes your healing ability stronger, and lets you use Bardic Inspiration to heal allies. College of Traditions lets you place mage armor on yourself for more AC, makes intimidation and insight checks easier, and lets you use Bardic Inspiration to damage enemies as a reaction for when they damage you. Finally, College of Heroism allows allies affected by your Bardic Inspiration dice to roll twice and pick the better number. You can also make allies immune to frightened or fear and use Bardic Inspiration to deal thunder damage. Out of all these, I like College of Traditions the most. Your dexterity should be sky high, so the unarmored ability will work nicely. Also, Verbal Onslaught sounds right up my alley. Solasta's reaction system is really cool, and I love punishing enemies on the fly. Next is the Monk class. Monks have unarmored defense, which means when you are not wearing armor, your AC equals 10 plus your dexterity modifier plus your wisdom modifier. Note that this is different from barbarians who combine dexterity and constitution. You can also use dexterity instead of strength to determine the attack and damage rolls for your unarmed strikes and monk weapons. Your bonus action can be used to do an additional unarmed strike as long as your attack action was with an unarmed strike or monk weapon. As you level up, your unarmed damage increases, you gain key points to do a variety of abilities, you get multiple reactions that can be used in combat, and by level 9, climbing no longer costs extra movement. One of these key abilities is Flurry of Blows, which lets you do 2 unarmed strikes as a bonus action. At level 3, you'll be able to choose a Monastic Tradition, which serves as your subclass. Way of the Open Hand will allow you to heal yourself, protect yourself as a reaction in combat, and use your key powers to apply a penalty on enemies you hit with Flurry of Blows. Way of Freedom allows your Flurry of Blows attack to give you advantage on your next attack. You can hit enemies as a reaction to them missing you, and you'll gain an additional Flurry of Blows attack. Way of Survival gives you a +2 bonus to AC while not wearing armor. When you take damage, you'll automatically heal on your next turn, and you can add your Constitution modifier to damage rolls of unarmed strikes and monk weapons. Finally, Way of Light gives you cantrips and lets you use Wisdom for spellcasting. Creatures hit by your Flurry of Blows will automatically emit light, and if you hit an enemy while they are lit, you'll do an additional 1d4 radiant damage. As a bonus action, you can emit a blinding light that does 3d6 radiant damage to all creatures within 3 cells who fail their saves. If I was going to replay Crown of the Magister, I would choose the Way of Light subclass, because that campaign had a lot of nasty undead that were difficult to deal with. If I was doing Lost Valley, then I would go with Way of Survival instead. There is no other subclass that makes it so easy to get a +2 bonus to AC, and that is absolutely massive. Quick note before we review Warlock. If you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate you subscribing and hitting the like button. This information tells me which content the channel is enjoying and also helps my videos spread to more people. I really appreciate all of the support. Alright, finally we have Warlock. This class focuses on spells you gain from a patron with whom you have signed a pact. As your levels increase, you gain more Eldritch invocations, which will unlock new abilities and spells from your patron. At level 1, you select your patron, which also serves as your subclass. The Fiend provides fire and poison spells, along with giving you temporary hit points for every kill. Once per day for 1 minute, you can add 1d10 on all your ability checks and saving throws. The Hive provides a host of different damaging spells, and the first creature you damage with a spell will have disadvantage on their next saving throw. You can also cast Counterspell on yourself without using a spell slot, and when you take damage, a reaction will cause you to immediately gain temporary hit points. The tree adds mostly nature-related spells to your spell list, and small branches sprout from your skin that do 1d4 damage to enemies when they hit you. You also cannot be poisoned, gain resistance to poison and necrotic damage, and you can explode from within, which does 1d4 per level piercing damage to all nearby creatures, along with pushing and restraining them. Finally, the Timekeeper gives you haste, slow, and multiple illusion spells. When you damage enemies, they are inflicted with a curse that damages them at the start of their turn. When you're about to take damage, a reaction lets you project your body forward a few seconds and negate the damage, but this banishes you until the start of your next turn. You can also use a bonus action to haste nearby allies. I am a big Doctor Who fan, so the Timekeeper greatly interests me. Throwing around haste whenever I want to sounds like a ton of fun. That wraps up my breakdown of the Solasta Inner Strength DLC. It helps to flesh out areas of the game that sorely needed it, and I believe the content adds quite a bit of value for players. Hope all of you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave me a like, share this content, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I will see you all in the next video. Take care.